Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Marina Ponti, the director of the UN SDG Action Campaign, and I'm delighted to be joined today by Regional Director for Southern Africa, Lola Castro, of the World Food Programme. So we're here for another Turning Point dialogue. What are these dialogues? We are really having conversation with leaders across sector to discuss together how we can make 2021 a turning point for people and the planet, and how we can together build more sustainable and more just societies. So, Lola, it's such a pleasure to have you here today, particularly as you represent the World Food Programme, which is the largest humanitarian organization really saving life and at the forefront of emergency, of conflict, of famine, of natural disaster, and really helping people coping with the impact of climate change. So for all these reasons, WFP was awarded last year the Peace Nobel Prize. Congratulations. But let's start by, can you tell us what that prize meant for you and your team?
Thank you, Marina, and very nice to be with you today as well. How can I express the happiness and the incredible satisfaction that all our teams had when we heard about the Nobel Peace Prize? You know, our teams are working in very, very difficult situations in conflict zones, where peace and food insecurity are so interlinked, and is so important, our job, that this Peace Prize really gave us a boost to continue doing what we are doing every day, and to ensure that we really don't miss on our work to ensure food security in the world. And really it was a very satisfactory moment, and we are living through it still, and we will continue living with the Nobel Peace Prizes and making sure that we are well owners of it, as you tell us, is for us, for the world. But we are proud, and we are basically humbled by receiving it as well. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Lola. I think you mentioned food security, and you also mentioned access to food, which is really critical to allow people to live in dignity and to fulfill their potential. Sadly, the pandemic, as you well know, has really put the spotlight on the very deep inequalities that are at the base in our society. So could you share, also bringing the Southern Africa perspective, the stark reality of inequality in food access and in food security that you have experienced from where you sit?
Yeah, no, the Southern Africa region, as you know already, is very much affected by the climate change. And the climate change is on everyday life for us. Every day or every month we wake up with cyclones, big storms hitting our coast of Madagascar, Mozambique, including going now much more inland than before. Other years we have immense droughts that really destroy the crops of the smallholder farmers and the large productive farmers in Angola, Botswana, Namibia, Zimbabwe, etc. So just to give you the picture, in our region, climate change is a big issue. And in 2020, when we get hit on top of it by the COVID-19 pandemic, and we have to basically, governments feel obliged to lock down the economies to avoid the expansion of the virus, then the economic downturn, the inability of populations to really access the markets and move becomes a double whammy for the situation in the region for food security. So what happens is the following. We have had already some data and some statistics, and we have seen a 6% economic decline in our region. We have seen the increase of urban poverty and food insecurity, how many people who were living on the day-to-day wages, now they cannot obtain it and they cannot buy a minimum basket on daily basis in the cities, in the big cities of Southern Africa. We have seen how the smallholder farmers, mainly women, were not able to plant. They could plant, but then they couldn't bring their vegetables and fruits to the markets to be sold on time. So we have seen an impact in the food systems in our region, what is very critical because in fact, it has affected the food security of the whole region. At this moment, we are confronted with around 48.9 million people in Southern Africa alone who are food insecure in 2021. And this is related to climate change, to the COVID-19 impact, as well as to the heavy economic downturn of that COVID-19. So really, we have a lot of work to do, and we are really hands-on as WFP. We are together with our partners, UN, government, civil society, communities. We are really trying with everybody to figure out how to make sustainable food systems happen. But I leave it there for you.
Yes, thank you. I couldn't agree more. And now, as our audience, there are a lot of activists, there are a lot of people who want to change things, who really want to make 2021 a turning point for people and the planet. From your point of view, where you see looking at with the aim of eradicating hunger, famine, and really ensuring that people fulfill their potential, which are the major shifts that you would like to see in society, in food system, for instance, in the way societies is organized from the local to the global level, so that we can really build more equal and more just society where no one is left behind?
A very important question. The base of the food systems are the communities, the smallholder farmers, which in Southern Africa are mostly women, by the way. So there's a gender aspect to all of this. Those smallholder farmers, women and men as well, needs to be supported so that they have enough inputs, enough financial access to financial services. And they also can be supported by the big private sector, by other actors to be able to reach to markets and get a fair price for their products. And they will be ensuring that there is a sustainable supply chain of the products in the region. That's one important thing that many of us can do. We can do that at civil society level, CBOs, community organizations. We can do that at NGO level, UN level, actors, governments, private sector. We also, very important for the most vulnerable and poor that are in fact, the inequalities are growing in our region enormously. It was already one of the most unequal regions in the world, but now we have seen with COVID-19, the inequalities growing, and especially in urban areas. What else can we do to support and expand the social protection systems, the transfers, cash transfers to the most vulnerable, to the women, to the children? Also ensure that children are kept at the school, or children go back to school better. It will be better said than stayed, because we have seen how all the schools in the region closed down for months, and we can say almost a year, in fact. And how to bring those children back, especially the poorest, the most vulnerable. We're seeing in southern Madagascar, for example, Marina, how children, around 75% of the children have gone out of school and are not coming back because they are simply helping their parents to collect food, to beg, or to do something to maintain the family and feed the family. Very basic things. Feed the family is keeping children out of school. So how can we bring these children back to school, and how we can work together to ensure with the civil society, with the government, etc., that they come back to school and they have quality of education, they have a school meal which will attract them and ensure that they can concentrate. We have seen a very big decline on the school feeding for children, and it's extremely important. We had to go from institutional school feeding at the schools to take-home rations, giving the children the food to share or to eat it at home. And that worked very well because they continued studying somehow and they continued link. So extremely important matters that are going to be critical for the long-term food security and sustainable food security of this region. Outside all that, we also need to really continue working together with governments to ensure the open spaces, the borders are open and people can circulate freely and goods. And so the food and the people can move both for labor and as well as for feeding themselves. All the foods that are produced in the region can be continue circulating, as we have managed to do very well working with SADC and the governments in the region. So there is work for everybody, as you see, from the community level to the highest level, regional organizations. And we, UN, or World Food Program, we're really committed to continue working from production to consumption in the food systems to ensure that they are sustainable or more sustainable. There are opportunities, in fact, that have come up during our 2020. The digitalization, the information systems have become very, very available for everybody. So let's use those opportunities as well to change what was not going well and to improve our food systems and the functioning of the food security in our region.
Thank you, Lola. I think this was extremely interesting, to see the different level and how everyone can contribute. Let me now go to the last question. I mean, you are a champion, you are inspiring people, you are promoting change in your daily work and in your life. What are the things that are inspire you? Which is, it could be a book, it could be a piece of art, it could be an experience you had. So if you could share something that has really motivated you.
Yeah, for me, to be honest, my job has been amazing and incredible over 27 years working in around 12 countries in the world, 4 continents. And I've met so much incredible people in my life. I mean, incredible people, but I want to maybe go down to one of my first experiences as I was a head of sub-office in northern Mozambique in the early 90s, yes, after the peace agreement was signed. And I met in a very remote village that in fact there were no roads leading to it anymore because they were mined at the moment. We arrived and we managed to we were talking to the community, and I met a lady who was, sorry, I cannot remember her name. This is around 26 years ago now. But that lady is very much in my brain, and the image of her talking to me and how we were talking. And I asked her, can you tell me what do you need and how we can help you? And this lady was so amazing. She told me, look, Miss Lola, the only thing I need, in fact, in my life is to be able to sleep every day in my bed and not have to run from my house because it's been burned and I have to escape and I have to then come back and build my house somewhere else. The only thing I need in my life is to be able to cook my food and have enough food to feed my family and my children and be able to have a normal life and my children to go to school. So can you, as United Nations, because I was having my WFP logo and United Nations logo, help me to have peace in my life, to be able to live in my home, in my village, She didn't ask me anything special. She was not asking for anything. Simply, she wanted to sleep in her bed every night without having to run away to the bush and to eat and to send her children to school. That woman told me that it depends very much on the place on the world you are born and the situation you are born. Your life can be so different. And that inequalities are so rampant in this world. And it gave me the energy, to be honest, for these 27 years to continue fighting for her, to make sure that she has a house, she has her food, her children go to school, and especially that there is peace in her life. So for me, that was a critical moment where I understood that I will continue doing this job because I saw I was making a difference if I could help that lady and many more that we hope we have her help afterwards. So that's maybe not a big name, and I cannot even remember her name, but I think she was and she is a big lady.
Thank you, Lola. I think this is a very inspiring story. And let's hope that together we can really make 2021 a turning point so that nobody, including this amazing lady you met many years ago in Mozambique, will be left behind. Thank you.
Thank you, Marina. Thank you very much.